Good morning.
Good
I think.
morning.
Where are you, Hans? Where are you at?
We're in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay, so it's morning there for sure. I think I get
Yep,
you guys are on Pacific time right now too, if I'm not
we are.
mistaken.
That's correct.
Well, welcome. Well, thank you. It's good to finally meet you in person. I know we've kind of communicated a little bit through
Yeah.
emails and stuff over the past. Uh, I mean, for you guys that don't know, Hans is one of the, I guess, the proprietor of the Carnivore Crisp, who many of you have tried. I've certainly had, and find it to be a pretty nice carnivore product. But so we wanted to, I guess, discuss that a little bit. But Hans, if you don't mind, can you give us some background information on you, since most of us haven't met you before?
Sure. So my name is Hans Hippert. Anya and I started our Jojo's Jerky, basically the umbrella of Carnivore Crisps, about 10 plus years ago. Then, cutting beef and making jerkies. I hate calling myself a foodie, but I do love food. I love experimenting and creating new things. And so about, 2010, we started Jojo's Jerky here in Las Vegas. Have a USDA plant, been doing that, doing retail, wholesale as well. So started the Carnivore Crisp line, one of our lines, a little over a year ago, and moving forward ever since. So offering other different cool products very shortly, and excited to be here.
Well, welcome. And you said something about you have a USDA processing facility. Is that did I hear you say that?
That's correct. Yep.
I'm just wondering, is that the same as like a traditional meat processing center, like a rancher would have to have, or?
That's correct.
Those are not small. Those are not easy to get. If I'm
No,
mistaken, right?
no, lot of work. Yeah. Anya and I have put a lot of work, many hours over the years, and yeah, it's definitely not easy to get.
And is it something that only processes your stuff, or is there some other
Yes.
people that use it?
No,
Okay.
it's our plant.
But he's been approached many times to start producing for other people too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, because I know one of the issues with meat distribution in this country has been, the limitations of the processing centers. I know a lot of folks
Yeah.
that would like to utilize somebody else's some of the other processing centers. So
For sure.
Anya, well, welcome. Thanks for
Thank you.
inviting into. And where are you from originally? I hear a bit of an accent.
Originally, yes, I'm from Russia.
Oh, from Russia. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. And you've been here for how long now?
For a while, it's almost 17 years.
Okay, very
So
nice.
it's my home now. Yeah.
And have you guys? So is the Carnivore Crisp is so everything's located in Las Vegas?
That's correct.
Very good. Okay, well, tell me about. I mean, the jerky business. Obviously, you've been around processing meat for a long time. If you've been doing that for 10 years, and so
Mhm.
what got you into doing jerky? How did you get into that?
So it kind of blew my mind as a kid, finding out my friend's dad could make jerky. I thought it was just, always in the store. So went over to his house, learned that you can actually make it. So just kind of dove in and tried to perfect it over the years. So for literally 26 plus years, I've been making jerky. Bought my first dehydrator when I was 15 years old. And then we literally sold everything that we owned. We had our son on the way, and I was traveling a lot with my old job. I used to design and build surveillance systems for casinos. And long story short, I didn't want to raise my son from a hotel room. So with my beautiful wife's support, we literally sold everything, house, car, motorcycle, all that stuff to get our own facility, and gradually just built it out over the years. So now we actually have 2 processing facilities. So I still put in the work, but it's still fun for me. I love what I do, and that's a big part of why I think people can resonate with it and enjoy our products.
I have to say, I got a food dehydrator not that long ago, and I was actually surprised how easy and good it actually is to do that. It is quite easy to do at home. I mean, obviously, your business will be on people that don't have them or don't care to do them. And What did you learn along the way? I mean, because what you make, the Carnivore Crisp is not jerky. I mean, it's distinctly, absolutely not jerky. So what's different about that process as opposed to just sticking something in a food dehydrator? How do you make it? How do you make it the sort of the way you've done that?
Well, it's years of experience to making it crisp like that. That's without giving away trade secrets, but it is a similar process as far as cutting meat and drying it. It's just all the technique on how you do it to make it the way it is. So you said that you bought a food dehydrator, and that's awesome. Usually, typically, from my years of Jojo's, the people that come in and like, oh, I make my own. And I was like, okay, well, you can respect the time and effort that goes into making your own dried meat products, because it's not easy. It's the cleanup, the setup, if you're doing it right, you're cutting out all those arteries, all those tendons, and starting with the whole lean muscle, specific to what muscle that you want. There's so many different variables, on making jerky or making crisps for that matter, that it takes those years of experience of trial and error, lots of error, to get it right. So what have you been experimenting with as far as jerky? Just
I just cut up some, like, what is it, bottom round or something? You're supposed to get the real lean stuff. I just cut it into little strips, threw some salt on it, threw it in there, and that was it. I mean, I didn't do much else.
Cool.
And I haven't done it that many times, and the family liked it, but you are right. I mean, it is fairly labor intensive as far as, cutting it into the right size pieces. And, I've got like 6 racks, so I can I can cut up I think about a 6-8 pound roast, cut it into strips, and I can dehydrate the whole thing, and it turns into, I don't know how much that is, but
2.5 pounds, something
like that. It shrinks, I think meat's 70% water or something like that.
Right.
So dehydrate it all down. And it's generally an overnight thing, something like, I think it was like 16 hours or something like that is what I ended up doing. But
yeah,
so I'm not, like I said, I can't say I have extensive experience with it, but I was kind of interested. I've been, I've got a dry ager as well, which is something I've been trying with dry aging, which is also fun. And I just had some of that for breakfast, in fact, for now.
Very cool.
Awesome.
I'm experimenting with that myself.
Yeah, and I want, I'm just wondering. Well, I don't know if it's worth it to dry age and then put it into meat, because it does give it a different, unique flavor. Let me ask you about, because traditionally, I'm sure you're familiar with. There's an item called Biltong, which is it originated in South Africa. When I was a kid, I went down to South Africa several times, as my grandmother was from there, and I really liked it, and I think one of the reasons I like it is because they left some of the fat in there, and I think it just had a unique flavor. And I know with these crisps, depending on the cut, there's a decent amount of fat, and most jerky doesn't have fat for reasons, I guess they're worried about rancidity and stuff like that. How do you handle the fat, and why does it make it more challenging when you leave fat on?
Typically with jerky, yes, because the rancidity, but for crisps, the way that we do it, it renders it down, so it's got a long shelf life and eliminates that issue. For Biltong, yes, that's like and I've actually made quite a few different jerkies before crisps, as far as sugar-free and really clean jerkies. When it comes down to Biltong, it's a specific process. It's typically like a 13-day hanging period. So there's a lot of different challenges depending on where you live and how you're holding that product. Temperature control is very important, but and then the acidity of the the brine or whatever marinade that you're doing. But for me, so the big thing for Biltong, obviously was the cleanliness of it, but also the tenderness. So I really focused on, with like our Jojo's products and different cuts, making that product tender without having to go through a 13-day and hold and USDA doesn't like Biltong at all, just because of the different challenges with it. But there's ways of getting, what I'm getting at is there's ways of getting that texture and consistency without doing it that way, without the hanging at room temperature with, high humidity, etc.
And I think vinegar is part of the process typically with the Biltong. I think they use
correct. Yeah.
Vinegars. And why and USDA doesn't like Biltong for, what is the reason? Because of that process?
Yeah, because there's not supporting studies for that. I think there are some now coming out, but that's typically what it was.
Because I mean, in the most, well, maybe not so much anymore, but it used to be that most meat in the U.S. was hung for several weeks, just if you're talking about regular meat. So it seems
Correct.
kind of the same thing to me. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm sure there's different regulations
That's temperature controlled though. Biltong is not.
Okay.
So it was like more of a room temperature instead of, temperature, sub 40-degree holding room. And yeah, a lot of the beef is, whether it be wet aged or dry aged, typically in the plants.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at some of the comments, and some people are talking about some of the different products you have, and people are really there's a number of people here that really appreciate fat and the importance of fat, and so they're asking about that, and then they're also asking about these chicken skin things. Tell us about those two things.
Yeah, I got it right here behind me.
Chicken crisps.
Yeah. So it's chicken skins, Pittman Farms, rendered down. So like you would do it at home without, all the mess, all the work, because anybody who's made their own chicken skins can appreciate that it's a lot of work and it's a lot of loss. That's the big one right there. So you think jerky's bad, that, chicken skins are a whole new level as far as loss.
And is there some, because one of the reasons, they tell you to peel the skin off chicken is because that's where the fat is often, I guess the subcutaneous
right.
fat. And that's what, quite honestly, that's what the flavor is in my
flavors
view.
Yeah.
Do the chicken skins still have some amount of fat on them, or is it?
They still do.
They still do. Yep.
Yeah. So it probably tastes like pretty good, I imagine.
It's great.
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody say anything negative on that. So what about, as far as just back to jerky and stuff like that, there's different types out there. I mean, there's, I see stuff in the gas stations, it's usually where I've seen jerky is, gas station, and it's always been a bunch of stuff that I prefer not to eat in there. And I don't know why they put so much of this stuff in there. What is the rationale behind doing that? Is it just purely shelf life stuff, or what's the point on that?
It's a combination of that. Yeah. Shelf life
and cutting costs down.
Old mindset, and the addiction of sugar. That's most of them are jacked up with a lot of sugar.
And how, again, I'm not familiar with Jojo's. I just had the Carnivore Crisp, because what is a Jojo's jerky? The
name behind it,
well, the name behind it, I guess. And then what's how did you come up with the way you make that?
So I'm a perfectionist. That's literally years and years of getting different cups, different subprimals, taking them home, trying them out, having my friends and family try them. Basically, Jojo's started because of my buddy's kid. His nickname was Jojo. His name was Jonathan, and I used to bring over, same deal, food dehydrator. Used to bring over a pound of jerky to Jonathan, and he'd say, Uncle Hans, he would critique it, basically, if it was too salty or too spicy or whatnot. He'd always kill the bag, but he'd always critique it. And so basically I told him, what year was that? Probably 2006, 2005. I told him if I ever start a jerky company, I'll name it after him. So hence the Jojo's jerky. Now he's like 22 years old. He's got a son of his own. So yeah, full circle.
Got his own name, jerky. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. What I mean, and jerky, is obviously not a new product. I mean, you guys didn't invent that. We've been doing it. How long has jerky been? I mean, it's probably been, God, I don't know, since we've been eating meat, they've had some sort of dried meat.
Yeah.
In Native American culture.
Yeah.
Well, and within the Native American culture, obviously a product called pemmican was quite popular. Is that something you guys have looked into, or is that something
Yes. Don't have the product out yet, but I'm always experimenting with new products, and especially like the pemmican. I enjoy it. It's something that utilizes it, all of the products. So whether it be the fat, the dried meat, whatever's laying, whether it be fruits or nuts, and I can really appreciate that, because in the jerky business, it's very tough. It's very competitive, but it's a very tough business. And if you're not utilizing everything, you're losing money, or you're not going to make it. So hence with the Jojo's, we made, hot sauces, a couple different products utilizing. So if we made a fresh marinade for Jojo's, we'd use that fresh rind, the pulp. We'd use our dryers after hours and dry that rind and pulp and make spice rubs out of it. So dry rubs, full of flavor because they were just, it was a fresh fruit or vegetable dehydrated. And there is a big difference from what you buy at the store to what you buy with us. For instance, it was dried, maybe a week ago, and that flavor still really pops when you're at the grocery store and you're buying that smoked paprika or that garlic or onion, and it's been on the shelf for 5 years. Yeah. So there's a deterioration with that. So going back to it, like it just utilizing everything, whether it be our dog treats or dry rubs or making marinades or spice rubs is very, hits home to me. So it's very important about us not being wasteful.
Yeah, I like Becky's recipe, actually, Becky Niles for pemmican. She uses one of our products and her own tallow, and she blends it. It turns really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the, and what I've made pemmican as well, and I know that, you got to, I basically dehydrated the meat, and then the hard part is getting it blended up into small enough pieces.
Yeah.
You go through, I got a Vitamix, and it was struggling. I can only put a little bit in there at a time. And that was,
yeah, it'll kill the Vitamix real quick.
Yeah. Well, you got to be careful with that. Now, what is, obviously, I've got a food dehydrator. It's, 2.5 feet high by about 18 inches across, or 14 inches across, something like that. What do you guys have? I mean, you got to have, what is it, like a giant room, or what do you have to dehydrate?
Big ones. So big trays. It's multiple units. There's 7 of them, and then just big trays. It's the commercial version of what you're using. That's specific for food dehydration. Now
that happens post processing, I'm sure, right? I mean, I guess, that's not the USDA processing facility. It's not the dehydrator, or is it? I don't know.
It is.
It is, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so what about as far as acquiring the meat that goes into this? Is this something you get subprimals from other places? Or
yes, from NFR. So NFR beef, we'll get the subprimals, and then we take it from there. So it gets killed at a facility up in northern Nevada, and then gets sent down to us, and then we'll do our trimming, our processing, and then it wears our bug stamp.
Yeah, there is literally no third man involved whatsoever. Yeah. Just rancher and Hans. Yeah.
And then whoever eats it at the end.
Right.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
How so what kind of use pretty much every, I know I've gotten some of the Carnivore Crisp, and I know there's quite a few cuts. Are there any things that don't make good jerky or don't make good Carnivore Crisps? Is there any cuts that don't work well?
It depends on what you're looking for. But no, in theory, everything could be used. And even that trim at the end, we've got a product for it. Everything gets used. So some are better than others, as you can, read the comments, what people prefer, but anything can be used.
Yeah, Katrina's just saying liver, and I know you guys have a liver, and I'll be honest, I just don't like liver. I don't care what.
That's okay.
If it's dried or fresh, I've never liked it. I still can't like it. I've tried it. I've done my best, and I'm just not a fan. But I certainly, like I said, brisket, ribeye, something a little more fat in that. God, that really kind of gets me going as far as what the products are. That's been my preference for whatever reason. But
cool.
So you said you've got some other things in the works. So what are you guys looking to develop at this point?
We've got a couple different things. So they're going to be released shortly. I can't go into too much detail, but you will be one of the first to know. I can tell you that. So yeah. It's about those months of me, talking to you, and it's all coming together. So I'll leave it to that. It's nice and juicy.
Well, I look forward to it, I'm sure.
Also about sustainability, about the dog treats, and he's just being so modest. He's a very modest guy. What he's building, that's pretty much the plant that there are only 2 plants in the entire US of this kind, Hans plant and another sort of similar plant in Pennsylvania, where he will be utilizing entire animal nose to tail. and it will be absolutely no waste. It's like 100% sustainable.
Yeah, we've got a spot for everything. So that's where I get creative and really enjoy.
Well, I mean, and a lot of people don't realize that, I mean, the meat industry, it's more than just meat. I mean, it's the hides, it's the, it's the bones,
Sure.
it's the hooves, it's the other,
Yeah.
it goes into a lot of products. I mean, if you look at household products, a lot of them have, cow parts or other things that are in there that we don't know about that just, and so when we talk about replacing meat, with pea protein or whatever, you got to replace all those other things as well.
Yeah.
Certainly that's, I mean, obviously none of us are fans of that stuff, but what, as far as, sustainability, you said you source it from, you say NFR, was that the name
Yep.
of the, what is
NFR
that?
beef.
What is NFR? Is that just no initials mean anything?
Oh, it's just NFR beef. So
Okay.
it's Northern Nevada. Dan McDougall, he's the rancher. So, been in it for 20 plus years. Amazing beef, amazing person. Checking all those boxes, Animal Welfare Act approved, grass fed and finished. He's got a bunch of different certs, and AWA. There's quite a few, and he's one of the only guys in the country that carry all those certifications, but actually live in it. So directly from him to us, from the kill house to us. So it's something that we're really proud of, and offering other new products real soon.
Yeah, and also they also family ranchers, right?
They are.
It started by his dad. He works
His
with
brothers
his brother.
in it. Yeah, as you know, those are getting harder to find nowadays.
Do you, I'm just thinking about things, and I've got a bunch of the carnivore crisps. My kids eat them all the time. My girlfriend eats them. I eat them, when I have a snack. And I honestly, I mean, to be honest, I don't snack that much, just because of the way I eat. But when I do, it's something like that. I'll grab that, or I might have it as an appetizer for a meal or something like that. It's kind of how I tend to do that. Just
Cool.
kind of the way it works. But just wondering, do you guys ever think of doing like maybe different size bags? Like, I mean, there's like, these are kind of the individual one serving. Where some people might like a family size bag to take on a car trip or something like that. Is that something that you've got in the works, or?
Yeah, it's definitely in the works. We just try to keep the product as fresh as possible with the smaller bag, but yes, the big bags, I think that's one of our main requests that we get.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't have any problem eating one of those bags. I mean, it's not a
You're
challenge.
a big guy.
I'm a big guy. That's true, but somebody's saying the chicken skins come in a large bag. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
I need two because I love them so much.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to. Yeah, and somebody's asking where you. I know you mentioned, but where do you source your chicken again?
Pittman Farms.
Pittman
Mary's.
Farms.
Yeah.
That's in
Commonly known as Mary's.
Mary's. Is that in Las Vegas or in Nevada as well?
No, California.
Oh, California. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what other, do you have, so chickens and cows, do you have any lamb or anything like that? Is that?
Yeah, lamb. We've got lamb. We've got chicken, beef, lamb. We've got elk. That's so basically it's called the Colorado cut. So elk, very lean. That was from broadleaf. Not my particular favorite, but they all stand on their own, depending who's eating them,
Some people love it.
Some people love it. Yeah.
What about pork? Because I know a lot of people I've seen like bacon jerky out there. Is that something you guys?
Yeah, we do pork. It's pork loin. We also do bacon jerky with Jojo's. Yeah, and we've got a sugar-free option on there as well. So that's the Jojo's is cured, smoked, and then dried to perfection, as we like to say. So, and it's just got a rub on it. So it's got a really good chew to it as well.
And how, I mean, when you're making jerky, do you have to keep are all the things in the same time at the same time, or do you have to keep things separate to
keep things separate and logged? Separate. Everything is, very, thorough, logged, temperature, time. There's a lot of different things that need to be done with it. It's not just like we used to do that at the house, like what you're doing. There's a lot more to it.
So, and I would imagine every sort of cut or animal gets a different treatment as far as time and
Exactly.
temperature and all that type
Yep.
of stuff. You have to calculate all that stuff.
Yeah.
And was there, were there any disasters in the trial and error standpoint? Did you ever have anything where I'm not doing that again, or?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Are you kidding me? Like that's you know, but it's the best learning opportunity, you know. You can't beat yourself up over it too much, which I'm really good at beating myself up over it, but yeah, learning from it and moving on, you know. But yeah, there's been many of those instances. And we call it the lab. That's our processing facility, because of the late nights that I'd spend there, like, you know,
trying to
midnight,
figure out a solution.
trying to figure it out, you know, working through recipes and trying different things out, you know, till I've got a couch in my office, a futon in my office, for the reason, because I've spent nights there, you know, trying to develop things and putting in the time. So it's
do you have like the test dummies, or I mean, I'm not kidding, the dummies, but I mean the people that you have to test it, the taste testers, or is it just you and Anya? Or
oh no, it's my kids. My kids are my honest, and that was the thing with Jojo. You know, he was honest. He would tell me, Uncle Hans, this is, yeah. He would still eat the whole bag, but he was very honest. And my son is brutally honest, and he'll tell me, Dad, no, like you know, or this. So and I love it. My wife is one of my biggest inspirations, and I always bring it to her and the kids, and yeah, of course, baby. So yeah, I've got some great taste testers right here, and they're truthful.
Yeah, I see Becky volunteering to be a taster too. Kind of funny, but you know, this is the one comment that I've seen, you know, that I think is really cool, is that, you know, companies like yours and some others that are making these carnivore specific foods, you know, sort of acknowledging the growth potential of this community. And I think this community is continuing to grow and appreciating that. And I think that's wonderful that you guys do that. But it just reflects the fact that this is something that I think people are starting to take serious, and, you know, seeing that there is a market there, and likely a very market that's going to continue to grow significantly. Where are you? I mean, right now I guess you're direct to consumer.
Yeah.
Is there any interest in sort of third party retail outlet type of stuff? You know, where we're going to see your stuff in gas stations or grocery stores, or is that something that would be of benefit to you, or how's that work?
Maybe select grocery
Maybe a
stores.
select grocery stores in the future, but right now it's just direct to consumer.
Is that a better model for you guys, do you think, or?
For now, it's very labor intense, and there's not much yield, as you can imagine. So to bring in middlemen and stuff like that, I think is unnecessary if we can fulfill and take care of our customers' needs.
So are you basically still doing all the cutting up the beef? And I mean, how
I
does that
still
work?
do. I'm a meat ninja. You know, I've got my black belt, and no, but I've got a great crew. I mean, honestly, it's our people that make the difference, and everybody cares. And we've got about 10 people that work with us that are, you know, some of them been with us for years, and they're amazing. And some really badass trained butchers, you know, old school, that are amazing as well. So our whole team, man, it's not easy work. You know, if you make it, like the first couple of weeks, you're gonna know if we're gonna know if you're gonna make it or break it, because it's very intense, long hours, all that stuff. But we're a family. So
What and how much of your own product do you guys eat? I mean, obviously you got to eat
Oh,
other
a
food,
lot.
but a lot.
I have to restock this shelf like every other day.
And what
Yeah,
do you,
even in our kids' lunch boxes, you know, like that's what I pack them, just like in a little Ziplocs, I portion size, and every day.
yeah, every day.
Yeah, and that's easy to do. That's for sure. It certainly is great for kids snacks for those schools that, you know, it's kind of funny. Some schools sort of try to dissuade you from putting meat in your kid's lunchbox now, which is kind of bizarre to me. But
Yeah.
what are your guys' favorite ones of the products you have right now?
So right now, my personal favorite are chicken skins.
Yeah.
I also really like ribeye, brisket. I love liver. Like I love liver like anyway. So I eat like every little single crumb left. Like I add it sometimes to my eggs, you know,
That's
like
actually
little
really good.
crumbs, and it tastes really good. You don't even taste the liver taste. Like pretty much, like all of them, they're my favorite.
It's always my favorite thing when the highest compliment you can give to something is you can't actually taste it.
Yeah,
Doesn't actually
yeah.
taste it. Like, well, you know, it's no one's actually. So what about the dog treats? I mean, how do you make the dog treats that are different? I mean, if are there some parts of the cow that you're like, this isn't really suitable for humans. Let's just give it to the dogs.
No,
Oh,
no.
human grade.
Yeah, it's all human grade. We love our, you know, we've got a Rottweiler. He's our mascot for Top 10, and so he eats, you know, with us. Obviously, I'm not throwing ribeyes down on in his bowl, but he eats well, and no, it's all food grade. So I would
Just
say
basically trimmings,
it's
whatever
just
didn't
trim,
make
yeah.
cut
Yep.
into.
So we'll make little burgers,
Carnivore crisps.
sliders. You know, we'll add some of that liver in there with the ground beef, and they absolutely love it. Extremely clean, just like carnivore crisps. So,
But I mean, the actual dog product that you guys sell, the Jojo's dog treats, humans could eat them. Then is what you're saying.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder about that. Yeah. I don't know. You know, I guess you hear about the old lady eating cat food. You know, and it's kind of like, you know.
the old cat lady.
Somebody's asking about other organs. Yeah, I mean, there's some organs that tend to make it into the human diet. I mean, liver, obviously, one. Some people,
Heart.
you know, like kidney, heart for sure, thymus, you know, pancreas, and then some people eat brain. You know, I guess tripes and, you know, the intestine. I guess we eat pretty much just about everything. But I mean, lung is one of those things that most people don't eat. I mean, there may be a few people that eat it, but I think most people don't find that one. Which organs do you use, and how do you use them in different ways?
So we use the heart, we use the liver. We are having so the other organs are allocated, but we're going to offer those up very soon. So but that's it. Just for the dog treats, it's basically it's human grade, and it's just the trimmings. So that make it, and like I said, the little burgers, the sliders. Yeah, it's
Well, the trimmings, I mean, the trimmings often just turn up into ground beef anyway. I mean, that's
Yep,
I mean,
exactly
essentially what you're getting. You're getting whatever the
Yep.
ribeye cuts or whatever they don't want you to have. And so,
right.
You know, I've got a meat grinder at home, which I've still not used yet. I need to do that and make some. Did you guys make sausage or anything like that? Is that something you guys have done?
We have in the past. Yep, and we've just got yeah, we're going to be offering that up very soon as well. But we have the capability of doing it.
And then I know, you know, in jerky, there's often like the sticks, you know, like you see like the Slim Jims, you know, and that's,
Yep.
and that for some reason always seems more moist. What is the difference between the way those things are made and
Fat
regular
content.
jerky? Just higher fat content.
Fat content, and if they're using a casing or not. So typically for our sticks, we never use the casing, but you can. And like I said, just fat content.
Okay, so that's what it seems like, you know, when you do that. And so, what's been your best seller so far as jerky and carnivore crisps? Has there been one that's been the most requested, or a couple?
I think the ribeye, you know, it's tough to beat, you know, but they're all good. Like the brisket, the top sirloin, those are all some of my favorites.
Yeah, I've
and
had
the skins. Sorry.
And the chicken. Yeah, I've not had the chicken strips. I've had the brisket. I think I like quite a bit too. But what and you guys have different ways people use them. Use them as like a potato chip. Some people dip
Right.
that in sour cream or cheese or something like that. Is that how you guys see people using this?
Oh yeah, yeah, especially the chicken.
As a nachos or you get well, yeah. At home, we also do it like a taco shells. You know, it's pretty much chicken in a taco shell shape, and you can put whatever you want inside.
Do you see a lot of, you know, obviously carnivore crisp, obviously we have this carnivore community that continues to grow into the thousands and tens of thousands of people now doing this and soon be doing more. Are you getting a lot of people that are not really on the carnivore diet, or carnivore people that have kind of started to notice your product and utilize it? Probably in the keto community or something like that.
Keto community. Yep,
Keto
for sure.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, I think the interesting thing with this carnivore diet coming to popularity is a lot of the keto people are shifting more towards an animal-based ketogenic diet. I think when I did a ketogenic diet about 6 or 7 years ago, the thing was, everybody was doing the giant salads, the Mark Sisson salad the size of your head type of thing. And now there's been a palpable shift away from that and more towards, focusing more on the animal portions, which I think is, I think if we argue that people spent time in ketosis 100,000 years ago, it wasn't because they were eating giant salads. I mean, I just don't think that was where it went down particularly. Becky's talking about skins and crab salad. Interesting.
Cobb salad, yeah.
Or crab. She said crab salad.
Crab salad?
Oh, crab salad?
Yeah, because she doesn't eat veggies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Becky's one of our carnivore coaches, and so she's definitely.
I love Becky.
Yeah, we love Becky. Yeah, she's awesome.
Do you guys? What have been some of the biggest difficulties you guys have run into with this Carnivore Crisp line when you decided to go from just jerky now to offer this product?
I don't know what we made quite a few different changes with COVID, and any major changes?
Just probably for you nailing the recipe to making texture.
Yeah, new challenges. There's always new challenges.
Amazing.
So
how long did it take you to figure out how many trial and errors did it take you to figure out the actual crisp recipe to get it where it is today?
A lot, but it was we were making it's a Hawaiian style for the last 7 or 8 years. So it's a traditional like Hawaiian type of jerky, and so it's shaved really thin, crispy, but it's packed full of sugar too. So we've been making that for quite a few years. So I kind of had some experience on that, and then when Anya wanted some new treats and inspired it. So it's it's my inspiration.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you what got you guys interested in this carnivore thing. Because I don't, did you hear about something somehow and decide this looks like a pretty good audience, or what was the inspiration to even product?
So I've been keto for a while, like I don't know, like maybe 10 years or maybe longer, and then I started learning about carnivore. So last year I adopted Carnivore. He already had some sugar-free jerkies, but among like the entire selection, he would have maybe like 3 kinds that were suitable for me. They were completely sugar-free, very clean. Some of them, they were already only meat and salt. He had that El Gaucho jerky. That was my go-to. Then, I pushed him, how about if you try to make this without sugar? How about if you maybe can tweak that flavor? So, and he just started like experimenting.
And then when I get it in my head, I don't quit until I perfect it. It's just one of those things. So
do you have, is there something that's more forgiving than others, as far as, like I said, is it easier to work with a fatty cut of meat, or, I guess traditionally jerky's always been a leaner cut of meat, but does it make a difference? Does the fat hold or change the flavor differently, or do you have to treat fat differently than you treat lean?
Yes, you do. And lean is much easier to answer that question. So it makes it, So if anybody's making it at home, that would be my suggestion. It just makes it that much easier. But as you know, it's still a lot of work. So even with a meat slicer and some basic knowledge.
Yeah, I don't have a meat slicer. I just got a knife. So
Cool.
And it's tough to, like they recommend, I think it's like half a centimeter is what I, when I look at the instruction manual, and that can be kind of difficult to cut depending on, how you're doing that. So a meat slice would definitely, so let's just, assume if you were to make it at home, not that I'm suggesting people don't get what you have, but Becky's saying a slicer is worth the money. What would you say would be good home products for somebody that wanted to make their own jerky or their own, type of jerky?
So a good knife, don't go cheap on the knife. You definitely want to spend the money. Start with a great cut of meat. So I would say if you're depending on what you're making. So typically top sirloin is amazing. You can take that couliot off and you got a whole muscle, some lean muscle down below, and you can, separate that, take out the tendons, any seams, and then slice it away. But sharp knife, very, if you're doing something along the crisp line, very thin, you're going to put it on your dehydrator. It depends on how you're going to make it. There's so many different variables, but just the basics of it, put it on your dehydrator, 165, and you want to season that to your personal taste. So typically 165 is the temperature that you want to make something with.
And rotate.
Yeah, it's a big thing with the rotation. That's a big part of it.
So okay, I guess I just threw them in there and left them in there overnight. Woke up the next day and they were done. But I mean, you pull the tray out and turn it around 180 degrees or something like that. Typically.
Yep. Top to bottom and do your rotation on there.
I mean, do you flip them over too? Like, I mean, is there?
I don't think you shouldn't have to. No.
Yeah. Okay.
It depends on the model that you've got though too. Typically you want the motor on the top for like the home versions, because otherwise you get those drippings that fall into the motor, and then your motor's toast in a matter of months if you're making a lot. So motor on the top and just good airflow.
Yeah, I think that's what I think the one I can't remember the name I got, but it was a fairly decent one, I think. But anyway, now you're inspiring me to maybe do that again. But I can't. We're moving homes right now, so we're packing everything up. So I was kind of sad. I took my dry aged beef out. I had a subprimal ribeye in there, and I cut it out yesterday. I'm like, well, I can't put another one in because I've got to pack everything for moving. So I won't be having dry aged beef for a couple months, it seems. So
where are you guys? Are you moving somewhere else in California? Or?
No, we're actually moving up to Washington State. My better half's work is kind of compelling her to go up there. So we're going to make that move for a while. Conceding we're going to be leaving the nice weather for a while, for a couple of years at least, but we'll make it through. They still have meat up there, which is good.
That's
what else is, like I said, do you guys do anything that's non-meat related, or is it all meat related in there?
No, we do. We've kind of stepped back on some of it.
Yeah, not anymore, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, we do hot sauce as well, and like I said, dry rubs. So, but and then just quite a few different types of jerky, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think maybe I've heard of the hot sauce. I don't know. I've never been a huge hot sauce guys, but I think is that something? Did you guys have quite a bit of popularity with the Jojo's hot sauce, or?
Yeah. It's called we've got a triple threat. We've got Hell on Earth, and we actually make one for the band The Killers too. So so I don't know if you've heard of it before, but it's really good.
It seems like the name, but maybe I'm just imagining that. And so, and I guess I forgot to ask Hans, what was your background prior to deciding to do this? And you said you sold everything and just said,
I used to design and build surveillance systems for casinos. Okay. So I traveled a lot. And
that's why he needed jerky. He forgot the most important part. He traveled a lot to the middle of nowhere where he could not even find decent food. That's why he started making his own jerky to take on the road with him.
I bring literally my clothes and about 5 to 10 pounds of jerky, depending on how long I was there for, because it would all just be fast food in these little podunk towns. So so that was a big part of it too. And then literally, sharing it with coworkers or associates, and they would ask me, hey, do you sell this stuff? And no, but I'll bring you some. And then so, courting my future wife, we lived in a little 1-bedroom apartment and had the food dehydrators like stacked. 12 was the max that we could do. We figured this out. So you could stack 12 trays per dehydrator. We had so many dehydrators on the counter that I was popping breakers. So in a little 1-bedroom, and so every 2 hours waking up and rotating the trays so I didn't mess it up, because you can over dry it. There's different things that you got to look out for. But that was a big part of it. And I didn't want to, like I said, raise my son from a hotel room. So sold everything and dove head first in.
Thank you.
Seriously. if I can say anything, the support of a great woman or the support, you know, of spouses, you can do anything, because literally we wouldn't be here today if I didn't have this beautiful young lady.
Yeah, I'm in the same situation. I've got a huge support system, which keeps me on the straight and narrow and keeps me sane, I think, sometimes. But
It's huge. Yeah,
that's
totally.
because sometimes you have some setbacks, and it's nice to have somebody who's got your back, which is
Yes.
which is really, really nice.
100%.
How much, Anya, how much do you get to pick the way things done? Do you get requests and that type of stuff?
Requests for myself personally?
Yeah, as far as what kind of product you guys are going to make.
Oh, actually, he surprises me. It's like he knows what I like, and he surprises me. I don't even have to make requests, you know. Maybe he already sends, like, you know, neurons talking.
Yeah. Some people bring home flowers. I bring home meat.
I know. He brought to me a box of chicken skins. I'm like, oh, like Christmas came early this year.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I'll share this story. So when I first dated my girlfriend, this is, I guess it was 8 years ago, and I flew out to California to meet her, and I brought her a box of chocolates, some really nice chocolates back then when I was still doing that stuff, and I gave it to her, and she seemed not really that interested, And I asked her, she said, well, I really don't really like that much chocolate. But it was, I didn't take it in a bad way, but I thought it was very interesting. She'd much prefer to have a nice steak or something now. And when I started with her, she was had been a vegetarian for like 20 years and was just kind of weaning away from that, starting to eat a little bit of fish here and there. And now she's pretty much a full on carnivore, which is kind of interesting to see how that and how much better she's done since that. So I think
nice. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Have you gotten into this is a thing that I think is, and I know it's tough to do on a label, but I mean, we've got such a, when I a few years ago, I gave a lecture to the U.S. Cattlemen's Association, and I flew up to Billings, Montana, and stood there in front of all these cattlemen and told them that they had a health product, and a lot of them were confused by that because they even thought that yeah, it's meat, but it's bad for you. Red meat's bad for your heart. Even the cattlemen had kind of been sold on this. Some of them had been sold on this, brainwashed in this stuff. And so I think by, I'm just imagining if I ever had a restaurant, and I know, not that I have any plans open, if I did, and you had a steakhouse, and then on the menu, you could just put studies of why meat is good for you. So you can educate people on the product. Now that not only does it taste good, and and I think most humans know it. I mean, we're like, this is viscerally satisfying meat for me, and it's there for a reason. But if we start being more, and like I talk about, playing offense instead of playing defense, instead of saying, oh, to say, hey, this is an excellent, wonderful, healthy product, and this is why. I think on your packaging, it's just regenerative type meat, and you talk about that, but I think if we go even more aggressive,
good idea.
more aggressive on, like I said, start playing offense instead of defense.
Yeah.
That needs to be done, because as you guys see that, there's certainly people out there that would prefer you did not sell what you sold and sold something that was made in a lab and and highly profitable for somebody else.
Yeah, good point.
So tell us, I know the members at MeatRx get a discount. I think we've got a little discount code for you guys on our website here. So for you guys that are asking, I've seen people asking in the chat. And so tell us about where do people go to find more about your guys' products, whether it's Jojo's Jerky or the Carnivore Crisps or anything else. And do you guys have any social media that people can follow you on, those types of things?
Yeah, Instagram, Carnivore Crisps, and or the website at CarnivoreCrisp.com. Yes, we do have a MeatRx code. What is it? MeatRx 10, or maybe just MeatRx. Well,
it's on the website. I'd have to pull it up there and see, and then. But yeah. So anyway, that's helpful for you guys that are interested. I like I said, I've had it and I really enjoy the product. Like I said, I'm not a big snacker, but when I do, that's something that I'm glad I have in the house. So and my kids. You're absolutely right. I mean, for the kids in the lunch, it's perfect. I mean, if you guys have kids, I mean, that's just a perfect little code. Yeah, somebody's saying the code is MeatRx. So if somebody's wanting to use that.
Be flattered. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So anyway, I have got to go do another podcast right after this. So you guys, thank you for coming on. Look forward to hearing about more of the products, and maybe we'll have you guys back on down the road if
Come and visit us next time you're in Vegas.
Yeah, that sounds great. Next time I'm through there.
Yeah.
Once every couple of years I'm in Vegas. So I don't know when the next time is. Hopefully when travel is not so crazy.
Right.
That'd be great.
Hopefully sooner than later.
All right, guys. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see you everybody
Bye.
tomorrow. Hans, Anya, take care. Thanks for being here, and thanks for what you're doing. Bye-bye now.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.